Okay, so I really don't know how this video is going to go, but I can tell you two things right away. Number one, if you want pure, raw emotion and passion from a pissed off fan, you came to the right place because that's what you're getting in this video right here. And secondly, if you're like around a family member or you're with, family members or you're at work or something, or you're just sensitive to cussing and vulgar language in general, then I suggest that you shut this video off right now because I can tell you there's going to be a lot coming out of me in this video. This is my week 5 preview as I'm Mac and I'm back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link in the description below. So this is my preview for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. But here's the thing. Our absolute clown flab of a head coach in Mike Tomlin, if there's one person who is capable of making me trash somebody else other than the Baltimore Ravens during Ravens week, it's only Mike Tomlin. Because I don't need to say how I feel about the Baltimore Ravens, okay? I can't stand the Ravens. I hate them. I hate their fans. I hate their incest cousin fucking tuberculosis fans over there in Baltimore. I can't stand anyone on their team, and I just despise them. They're right up there with the Flyers. But going into this game, I hate Tomlin more going into this game. Because I don't even know where to start. Mike Tomlin, all the way back when we were about to play the Patriots in the AFC Championship back in January 2017. Remember what Terry Bradshaw said? He's nothing more than a cheerleader who rode the coattails of a Bill Cowher team back in 2008. Well, guys, that is being proved more and more to be the case every single week with this guy. So Mike Tomlin, get this guy a set of pom-poms, get him a mini skirt, get him that megaphone. Hey, just warn me when you're about to do the splits. This dude is so unwatchable and so incapable of being a head coach. Because let me tell you, this past Sunday, he broke me. He broke me for good about how I feel about him when all I had were just previous thoughts and previous suspicions of him from the past. But I'll tell you, if you want actuality, 2020 is what did it for me with Tomlin. Especially that playoff game against the Browns, which I'll get into more in a little bit. So, I saw this dude's press conference on, earlier. And, number one, if you saw one Tomlin press conference, you pretty much seen them all because it's the same thing every single press conference. He says nothing but everything at the same time. Go figure that one out. But the coup de grace with Mike Tomlin was his press conference this Tuesday. And I can tell you, this was beyond any doubt the worst press conference I've ever seen him have. Because after the Texans game Sunday, a game in which that he got out-coached by a rookie head coach, blown out by a rookie quarterback, with a team that was down 5 starting linemen in the game, one of which featured Kendrick Green, a former Steeler, easily a top 5 worst draft pick in the history of this franchise, and you can't ring up one sack on CJ Stroud? That broke me for good. But what did he say after the game? Oh, hell yeah, there's going to be changes. And so, needless to say, I tuned into his press conference because I don't take his press conferences seriously anymore. The only reason I tune into his press conferences now is to see, how he's going to squirm and BS his way out of everything. And by God, did he not disappoint me with this one. Number one, he says, the thing that really pissed me off about this press conference. When asked about the changes, this jackass says it's all about the physicality component with practice attire, and we're going to wear, we need to have a better set of pads during practices. That's your big change that everybody's anticipating with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike? You think wearing better pads is going to fix the offensive play calling? You think pads is going to prevent Kenny Pickett from looking more and more like a rookie as the weeks go by? You think pads is going to, have Najee Harris or Jalen Warren or whoever the fuck is in the backfield find open lanes and get big chunks of yards? You think pads are going to have Deontay Johnson up his route running ability and his playmaking ability? You think that pads are going to have the wide receivers run better routes? That's what your big change is, Mike, the pads? Are you delusional? Are you insane? You can't be serious. Like, you people that know me, when I was in the TTC in my old channel, okay, you know that I was a bullshitter. But I was a bullshitter in the good way. I like to pal around. I like to, knock at you. I like to, make fun of you. In the good way. But you know what? It takes a bullshitter to know one. And this guy, Tomlin, must think that we're retarded or something. I mean, he's got to be mentally challenged. How can you sit at that press conference, talk about changes that need to be made when you don't even know what changes need to be made? How about Broderick Jones getting his start? It should not take until week 5, over a month into the season, to get this guy his first start. How about JPJ getting more reps in the secondary? Because we all know that when he plays, the pass defense looks infinitely better. How about Darnell Washington putting his ass on the offensive line? Put him right next to Broderick Jones, for crying out loud. How about putting Desmond King in the slot? How about Elijah Riley playing in the slot? How about those kind of changes? Or better yet, how about getting a new fucking offensive coordinator? Which should be your main change. And for a guy who's supposed to be defensive minded, okay? You pick up Desmond King before the season starts when he's your most advantageous player on the defense, and you have him just be for kickoff duties. Hello? What goes through the head, Tomlin? I mean, you don't gotta be Albert fucking Einstein to see that. Because if you are ignoring the thing that was blatantly obvious about last Sunday's game about the Texans, where they were a rebuilding team and a team that's on the rise, you are ignoring the most obvious stuff and the most obvious problems with this team that has been going on for years. Like I said, outcoached by a rookie coach, blown out by a rookie quarterback. And it's not just that game. This guy gets outcoached by everybody. And like I said at the beginning, that 2020 wildcard game against the Browns, that severely damaged my thoughts on Tomlin. Because you lose to your longtime rival at home in the playoffs as a higher seed than them. and a team that did not even have their head coach in said game. I am at the point to where I seriously believe I could go into a game and outcoach Mike Tomlin. I really do think that. Because if this guy still thinks that we are in a developmental phase into week 5, why in the fuck did Omar Khan, the new GM who had his first full offseason as the GM, have the offseason that we had? Fix up the offensive line. Fix up the secondary. Get some more targets for the receivers. Trade up with the Patriots to draft Broderick Bleepin Jones at left tackle. Trade with the Panthers to get Darnell Washington. What was the point of all that? If you're saying we're not good enough. I mean, I'm just at my wit's end with this guy. But we all know about the 4th and 1 play that did it for me for good. It's 4th and 1. We know that that's going to be a disaster from the start. That drive, we were running the ball. And we were running it quite efficiently at that point. And I do put some blame on Kenny Pickett for that play because he ran right into the pass rush. He spun right into it. Got his knee busted up in the process. Thankfully, it's not a severe injury. And he's only going to miss at most a couple of weeks. So on top of that, and on top of it just being a predictable play altogether, when you run it from the shotgun, get your quarterback hurt, a play that shouldn't have even happened, you ran a sneak earlier and wasted a timeout. Are you just signing off on everything because you know that you just overthink everything? But no, the cop-out and the deflection with Tomlin is that, oh, well, we lost the short yardage package. So you mean to tell me that you freaked out and you panicked with it with the short yardage package loss and you can't put in Broderick Jones? Then what did we trade up to get him in the draft for? Because Muth and Moore are out when there are 2 worse blockers? What a freaking dolt this guy is. And what a dolt that his buddy upstairs in Matt Canada is too. Because we all know, there is not one Steeler fan who likes Matt Canada in any sense at all. None. I can't name one. We know he's trash. We know he needs to be fired. And for any Steeler fan that's watching this video who happens to be going to the game Sunday, I want you to keep chanting, fire Canada. What happened the last time the Steelers had a home game? There were fire Canada chants. And I want it to be louder this Sunday. Hell, I want some fans to even start chanting fire Tomlin because I'm there. I really am. Years and years and years and years of speculation and suspicion with this guy has finally come to fruition with me, and he is trash. Since 1969, the Pittsburgh Steelers have had 2 head coaches and a cheerleader. That's what we've had. It's just embarrassing, man. And it's just a big fuck you to not only Omar Khan, to not only the players, but to the fan base. It is a big middle finger salute to the fan base who spends their hard-earned money on these games, pays for parking. Some of them have to even come from out of state to attend these games. spend way too much money on beer, way too much money on merchandise, way too much money on food and concessions and hotels and booking and gas and cars and whatever the hell else you want to throw in there. It is a slap in the face to them to just absolutely write them off the way that you do, and the way that you don't take anything seriously with bettering this franchise. Because 3 playoff wins since losing Super Bowl 45, that don't happen on accident. That is years of ineptitude. And I say it all the time, it should only be 2 playoff wins, because you know as well as I do, the Bengals lost that wild card game more than we won it. And it's not even since then, too. How about 2020 when this team was 11-0? You want to know what the Steelers' record is since that 11-0 start in 2020? We are 21, 23, and a tie, counting the playoffs. So what's that tell you right there? We've settled for mediocrity. No, we haven't settled for mediocrity. Mike Tomlin has settled for mediocrity. We don't say stairway to 7 for nothing. We say it because that is our expectations. I mean, do I expect us to win the Super Bowl every single year? Of course not. That's absolutely ridiculous and it's unrealistic. I do, however, expect us to be competitive. And the way this team gets blown out by elite competition time and time and time and time again is an indicator of coaching. For the millionth freaking time. A team in any sport always takes on the character of their head coach and their manager. How low this franchise has fallen, flat on their faces, starts with Art Rooney II. Because like I said, this is a dude who is a disgrace to his family's last name, a disgrace to the franchise. He is not a guy who has owner mentality. He is a guy who just cares about the history and the long traditions that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had. And because he don't have a spine to answer to a head coach when he's asked about our quarterback who got injured in the game, about his injury. I got the quote pulled up right here. It's too long for me to type, so I'm just going to read off of it right here. Here's what Tomlin had to say about when Kenny Pickett was injured. He says, quote, "Obviously, his functionality and comfort will be the guide tomorrow. The more functional and comfortable he is, the more work he'll get. Then as we push forward toward the game, the quality of his work will be a determining factor in his availability." Wow, man, that's a ton of shit for a simple question. Why can't you just give the reporters a straight answer? Because they were blunt as fuck with you in the press conference. What's the problem with just saying we're going to test him tomorrow, and if he's still not healthy, we're not going to start him Sunday? And you shouldn't start him anyway Sunday because you don't want to risk your bleeping franchise quarterback supposedly to get further injured. What's wrong with saying that? I mean, why do you have to overanalyze everything? Why can't you just give people a straight yes or no answer? Or just say, yes, we're going to do this, or no, we're not going to do this. That's who Art Rooney answers to. That's who he answers to. That's who he's afraid to stand up to. I sit here in this room, and I can stand up to Mike Tomlin. And it's not just the people that go to the games. It's the people watching it on TV. That's right. People taking time out of their day to sit back and watch this disgrace and a clown show that takes the field every day, thinking at the back of their heads, why the hell am I taking the field? I really have had it with this guy. I really have had it with Art Rooney II. I have had it with how he is running this franchise. I have especially had it with Mike Tomlin. Matt Canada, I don't give a shit what he does with himself. But if the Steelers, when the Steelers come out flat this Sunday afternoon against the Baltimore Ravens and we fail to have any fluidity with offense once again, Canada should be fired right on the field. That's how you make a big change. You don't make a big change by just bandaging up the problem and taking a completely irrelevant factor with attire and just looking nice at practice to fix the blatant problems that this team has had for years. And regardless, it's just a recurring theme, man. It really is. Because look, I am incredibly grateful of what I do here on YouTube. All the videos I make, the times I go live, the interactions that I have with people on YouTube. I'm incredibly grateful for it. The subs I get, no matter what you're here to see me do, whether you're here to see me yell, rant, rave, lose my shit like I'm doing right now, if you're here to see insightful football analysis from me, I am incredibly grateful for all of it. While I can't respond to every single comment that people, comment on my content, and I can't read them all, I do read a lot of them. And when I see not one, not two, not even 50, not 100, but thousands of people saying the same thing that I'm echoing about Mike Tomlin and Matt Canada week after week after week about this team, you know that I'm in good company. Because it is the same shit every single week offensively. It's never a convincing win. It's never a dominant win. And we never strike intimidation into anyone. Like Chuck Noll did, and like what Bill Cowher did. It's like, the players stink, the O-line stinks, the defense stinks, we all know that, I gotta make a change. It's like there's a flash flood coming, I better build a dam. And you put a tree branch down. That's what you did with these changes. Or changes, I should say. And yet every single week the fan base continues to sit down, watch these games, invest their time, see if anything's going to be made, see if there's going to be progress on the field. Why? Because we freaking love this team. And while you guys may not agree with everything that I say, while you guys have your opinions on if I'm too hard on the team or if I'm too passionate, if I'm too loud, whatever. You can say whatever you want about me. I don't care. But I'm going to tell you guys something right here, right now. I have been a diehard Steeler fan for over 20 years. And I absolutely love this football team. If I didn't care about the Pittsburgh Steelers, if I didn't care about Mike Tomlin's lazy, half-assed press conferences, it would not upset me the way that it has upset me right now with this preview. I haven't even begun to talk about the matchup yet, but I'm going to get into it. I would not get this angry about it. I would not get this upset about it. I would not be yelling like I am right now. I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. I take these losses with me. I take these bad performances with me. And I wear them like scars. I don't care if it's been 20 years since this team has had a losing season. You want to know what all that is? It is all just a mask and a cover-up for who Tomlin truly is as a head coach. and it's mediocrity. Because this guy is basically just admitting competence or incompetence with saying, oh, we're not good enough. We're still in a developmental phase. Then don't go all in the offseason. I mean, seriously, what goes on in this guy's head? I'd love to know. It pisses me off. Especially when we're playing our biggest rival in the Baltimore Ravens. Just show some progression. And no, there's no keys to victory this week. Why waste my time with that? The Ravens are injured too. Okay? But injuries don't make a difference. The Ravens have pretty much a Pro Bowl roster of injuries that are out. And they still dominated the Cleveland Browns. I see no reason to get excited for this game other than the fact that it's Steelers-Ravens, and I hate the Ravens with every fiber of my being. They're not a passing offense, but against this freaking Swiss cheese defense, oh, Lamar Jackson's going to look like prime Michael Vick. Lamar Jackson is going to, probably gash us for about 150 yards on the ground, and he's probably going to throw for like 200 yards. You expect this offense to continue to, if you expect this offense to just snap out of a funk of not having a single 400-yard offensive game since Matt Canada has been OC, barely getting first downs. Is that the new standard that the Steelers have? All I know is that Mike Tomlin's going to blame it all on the pads. That's all I know. Ravens have scored 22 or more points 3 times this year, and wouldn't you know, every single time they've scored 22 or more, they've won. The Steelers are the opposite. We've allowed 22 or more 3 times this season. 2 of those 3 have been losses. The only time we won was when the defense got incredibly lucky and came up with 2 defensive touchdowns against the Cleveland Browns. That is our new offense now. That is our new offense. I'm sick and tired of it, man. Because the Ravens, for as much as I can't stand them, guess what? They knew that Greg Roman could not be the offensive coordinator moving forward after several failures with Lamar Jackson as the quarterback, and now that he got extended in the offseason, they knew they needed to find a new OC. I get so sick and tired of hearing Tomlin say stuff like, well, obviously the Ravens have a new offensive coordinator. No kidding! Because they actually improved their team. Oh, we're very familiar with the... I hate it when he says stuff like that. Get better! And start it Sunday! I'm absolutely sick of it, man. I'm fed up with it. So, are we going to win this game? No. I don't think we are. But don't worry, guys. I know how the game's going to go. It's going to be a low-scoring defensive game like it always is between these two. We're going to be in it for the first 3.5 quarters or so. Then we're going to make a horrible mistake on defense. Lamar's probably going to turn the ball over against us a couple of times. Then the Ravens are going to smell blood in the water, and then that's when we're going to lose the game. Okay? That's what's going to happen. I've seen it all too much. I know that we've owned the Ravens in recent years. I know that we've had their number. I know we're pretty much Lamar Jackson's kryptonite. But I'm telling you right now, if you trust this defense to do anything this Sunday, and if you especially have faith in this offense to do anything this Sunday, you're in for a rude awakening. Because I have just had it with this coaching staff. If you're talking about getting the team better, I'm talking about wholesale purge with this freaking offense and this coaching staff. Because for as much as that I want to believe that Kenny Pickett is the guy moving forward, it is getting harder and harder and harder and harder and harder to defend this guy with how he is playing. I just can't take it anymore, man. I really can't. Remember back in 2004 when Big Ben was drafted and he wasn't projected to be the starter at all in 2004? Because that's what Bill Cowher said, looking back on it. And then Tommy Maddox got injured, ironically against the Ravens in week 2 of that season. He was forced to put Big Ben in there. But you want to know another difference between Cowher and Tomlin? Cowher saw that, hey, we have to roll with Big Ben now because our quarterback is hurt. You know what Cowher did? He made changes to the coaching staff. He did everything to fix it so Big Ben could be the best possible quarterback to succeed under his coaching staff. Mike Tomlin don't do that because he's spineless. He's a coward. He's a clown. And he's content with the way things are. Well then, Mike Tomlin, if that's the case, then you've just mailed in this season with your own freaking team, with your chance to wipe the narrative clean and dry of what everybody says about you. And you've pretty much just ensured that this team, this franchise, will not bring home another Lombardi trophy, at least for the next 3-5 seasons, when it's already been 15 years. That's what you've done. You've waved the white flag. You've surrendered to the powerhouses in the AFC instead of trying to make things better for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is that what a head coach is supposed to do? I could honestly go on and on about how pissed off I am about this guy. But like I said, if you happen to be going to this game Sunday, I want to hear those Fire Canada chants, and I even want to hear some Fire Tomlin chants. Oh, but don't worry, Mike. You're not going to get fired, and if you do, you're going to get hired in a hot minute. I say let it happen. That's what happened with Andy Reid. It can happen with you too. Okay? We need a fresh guy with this coaching staff. And I'm not just talking in-house promotions. I'm talking about a guy like Nick Sirianni, like Sean McVay, like Mike McDaniel, like Kyle Shanahan, like Frank Reich, an offensive-minded coach. No more defensive-minded coaches. We need an offensive-minded coach because that's the only way you're going to succeed in today's league. And Mike Tomlin is not that guy. But it's Steelers-Ravens week. I'll still sit here. I'll still stream the game. I'll still have my collab with PK on Saturday afternoon. Be sure to tune in for those. But I ain't expecting anything. That's just being honest with you. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Mac, checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.